Pack members? Welcome to our October Pack event. My name is Jocelyn Yadian, and I'm the Dog Aging Project Social Media Specialist at Texas A&M. And we have an exciting roundup just for you today. This Pack event will be a little different. Instead of talking with a guest, we're going to show some of our team's work that was presented at our annual meeting. Last month, our team got to meet up in Seattle for the first time since the pandemic began. It was our first in-person annual meeting in 3 years. We have researchers and staff all across the country working on the Dog Aging Project. So we were doing Zoom meetings before it was cool, just saying. But because we are so spread out, we rarely get to see each other in person. So it was a real treat for everyone to gather at the University of Washington for our annual meeting. Now, before we go too further and quick reminders. So Pack members, you can sign in at the dog park to enter in this month's giveaway. We have some new swag to give away this month, so don't miss out. Make sure to go to the dog park and leave a question or a comment. And you can do so by clicking on the link, which we have the link in our below this video. And we also won't be having a Q&A today, but if you have any questions, you can also ask them at the dog park. So make sure to head over there. Now, the Dog Park is our online community forum exclusively for members of the Dog Aging Project Pack. So if you're not already a Pack member, go sign up today at dogagingproject.org. If you are a Pack member and haven't signed into the Dog Park yet, try the link below in this video. So you can still be a part of it and sign up for our little giveaway. Now, just remember the Dog Park uses a different password than your research portal. So make sure if you have any questions, you can also message our team. Now, okay. And as always, if you missed any portion of today's event, the replay will remain available on our YouTube channel, along with our past Pack appreciation events. So you can share this video, like, give it a thumbs up, and you can also watch this anytime you want, and you can pause this video anytime you want to watch it anytime. But yes, this video will remain on our channel. So in order to better tell you about everything that happened at our big annual meeting in Seattle, I'm going to welcome a very special guest, Eric Lind, to join us.
Hey, Jocelyn, nice to be on this side of the camera for a change.
I'm glad to have you. You've done so much getting these monthly events organized and everything you do at the dog park. Thank you. But sadly, guys, for Eric's first appearance was also going to be his last, as he's moving on to a new job, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I was just offered a new and exciting opportunity closer to home. I'll miss all of you on the Dog Aging Project team. And the dog park too. Like, how many jobs let you talk about dogs and share cute dog pictures during work hours, right? So while I won't be the admin there anymore, I'll still be around and see all of you guys with my very own Pack member, Cooper.
That's so awesome, and we're so excited for you.
Thanks. Well, let's talk about the big annual meeting in Seattle. So funny story. I first started with the Dog Aging Project in early 2020. One of my first jobs was helping organize the 2020 annual meeting. It was originally slated for that spring in March of that year. So I was commuting to UW campus in Seattle when we had one of the first big outbreaks of COVID in the country. And just as I was getting all the camera gear ready and all sorts of other stuff in place, we had to call it off. I'm glad we did, but that was the last time I saw any of my Seattle coworkers for more than 2 years in person. So we still had annual meetings virtually, but last September was the first, or last month, was the first time we got to bring everyone together since the pandemic began. So it was kind of a big deal.
Right? I know a lot of researchers and staff joined the project after that, like me. We never got to meet the rest of the team, and everything was done online. So it was very nice to see everyone in person.
Yeah. And, so let's talk about the annual meeting then. What was it all about? So it was part social, getting to know each other better. And after working for so long online, having that personal connection is really important. Partly a focus on how we do the work, what we can do better and how we coordinate across teams, that sort of thing, right? But the main focus, of course, was the science.
And that's really what we want to share with you today in just a minute. But before we have the results to share, we need data to study. That's where the power of the Pack comes in. You guys, it's your observations from home that makes all of this possible. Without community scientists contributing all across the country, we wouldn't be able to do any of this without you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, and the Dog Aging Project's community science approach is really a big deal. In some places it's called citizen science, but it's that participatory science. Without a big pack full of supporters, each of the different research teams that work with us, they would be spending a lot of time just recruiting participants. And they'd be doing that in their local area, whether it's Arizona or Massachusetts or Iowa, and get only a fraction of what we have with this big, massive pack here, tens of thousands of dogs and their owners participating with us. So even though our annual meeting was all for the staff, the Dog Aging Project pack were the real rock stars that made the whole thing possible. So one of the things that we talked about at the meeting was how we can work better with our pack. And that's both in terms of recruiting new members, but also making sure that all of you who are already contributing so much feel valued for your work and everything that you've done for us. So I think we can do some new and exciting things in the year ahead.
We also talked about how to talk about science and how to get published. All this work won't mean much if no one ever sees it, right? So Virginia Faith gave a great presentation on how to get published and everything that needs to be done before any researcher hits send on their work.
Yeah, and the Dog Aging Project is an open data project. So that's an especially important point for us. Whether it's the data behind the work or academic papers, we want it all to be accessible. Now, if we really want this work to be used by others, we also want it to be something that you don't need a PhD to understand. So some of the stuff you'll see today might be a little bit academic still. We're always working to make this stuff something that you can chat about at your local dog park with friends. So today's posters are a peek behind the scenes at a work in progress, but stay tuned for more on all this in the months ahead. We'll have a lot more to come. And speaking of the data, one of the highlights of our annual meeting was talking with Matt Dunbar and Mandy Kaufman, who gave us a great overview of all of their work on the data analysis team. So it's not easy curating huge data sets that are as big and complex as what we have with the Dog Aging Project. So that's always really exciting. What else was there?
We got to have lunch and dinner together, which I think was a great way to get to know everybody.
Yeah, that was fun. Should also mention that we got to share some of our new swag, including brand new t-shirts, portable dog food bowls, and a lot more.
And if you're a pack member, you can enter to win some of the swag by visiting the dog park. So click on the link below.
Yeah. So let's check out a couple of the presentations. These ones are from our early career professionals. We have 2 brief videos and they're recording in a 5-in-5 format. That's 5 slides, 5 minutes describing your current work focus. So Emily Bray and Layla Brassington, they're such fun scientists to listen to. Some of these are their master's thesis, and I've just loved everything they've done for the Dog Aging Project, and I can't wait to see where their careers go.
Be sure to stick around after these 2 presentations for a look at some of the research posters summarizing work from our team members. So now, over to you, Emily and Leah.
Hi, my name is Emily Bray. I study canine cognition at the University of Arizona and Canine Companions for Independence. And I'm going to talk about some of our work looking at physical activity and cognitive health in older companion dogs. The work I'm talking about today is from a collaborative paper that used Dog Aging Project data from the first year of data collection. Our team came to this project from diverse disciplines, bringing interests that span comparative cognition, veterinary medicine, biology, actigraphy, and dementia. And all of these interests converged on our research question, which was, what is the association between physical activity and cognitive health in a population of companion dogs? Unfortunately, we know that a subset of dogs will experience canine cognitive dysfunction as they age, which is similar to Alzheimer's disease in humans. In our own species, physical activity is being actively investigated as a modifiable risk factor. In other words, something that's more or less within our control and can potentially reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease. So we thought the Dog Aging Project data represented a great opportunity for a first look at this in dogs. We were able to use cross-sectional data from over 11,000 companion dogs between the ages of 6 and 18 to look for an association between physical activity and cognitive health. So first, how did we quantify these things? We measured physical activity using 3 owner-reported measures from the Health and Life Experience Survey. Lifestyle activity level, reported as not active, moderately active, or very active. Average activity intensity level, reported as low, such as walking, medium, such as jogging, or vigorous, such as sprinting or playing fetch or frisbee. And then finally, average daily time spent physically active, reported in minutes. We then performed principal component analysis and found that all 3 variables loaded positively onto a single component. And this physical activity component showed a strong negative relationship with age. For our outcome measure, we used 3 metrics of owner-reported cognitive aging. First, a measure of whether a given dog was above the diagnostic clinical threshold for canine cognitive dysfunction, as well as 2 principal components loaded by responses to the Canine Social and Learned Behavior Survey. So first, a measure of change in cognitive dysfunction over the last 6 months, and second, a measure of current intensity of cognitive dysfunction symptoms. On the principal components, a higher score is indicative of more cognitive dysfunction. And again, we saw a strong influence of age. So across all 3 measures, reports of cognitive challenges start to rapidly increase around 12 years of age. We then fit linear regression models with our 3 measures of cognitive health as the outcome and physical activity as a predictor. Then, in addition to demographic variables and age, we controlled for lifestyle factors such as oral supplements and training history, plus medical conditions that we expected might affect activity levels and/or brain health. We found that physical activity was significantly inversely associated with all 3 of our outcome measures, whereby less physically active dogs showed higher levels of cognitive dysfunction. And these findings were robust, holding in a series of sensitivity analyses. So for example, we found the same patterns when controlling for breeds, and our findings also did not change when we excluded all dogs that fell above the canine cognitive dysfunction threshold, which seems to indicate that our principal component scores are sensitive to cognitive changes that could be precursors to the development of dementia. So as hypothesized, we did find a strong association between physical activity and cognitive health. However, given that our current data set was cross-sectional in nature, we can't disentangle if physical activity is truly protecting against cognitive decline, or rather if as dogs decline cognitively, they become less physically active. And of course, it could also be both. So we see this as just the beginning. More research is needed, and especially longitudinally. In terms of future steps, we're continuing to collect data, both through the annual follow-up survey and with more fine-grained measures. So in a supplemental grant, we have been developing behavioral assessments specifically targeting memory and executive function. And we're also having participating dogs wear actigraphs, so think Fitbits for dogs, that objectively track their activity. So ultimately, we'll follow the same dogs over time, which is going to be key to unlocking causal factors. And this is all going to contribute to our ultimate goal, which is early detection and intervention. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Layla Brassington. I'm a member of the SMAC Lab at ASU, and I'm a trainee here at DAP. And today I'll be taking you all through some of my master's thesis work. So for my thesis, I was really motivated by the question, is exposure to environmental pollutants associated with a change in health and/or disease? So we live in a heavily industrialized world, and as urbanization and industrialization have increased, so too has environmental pollution and its negative health consequences. So chronic exposure to air pollution is linked to increased morbidity and mortality risk. And in humans, we know exposure to air pollutants mimics age-related phenotypes such as inflammation, impaired immune function or immunosenescence, and oxidative stress, suggesting that pollutants may impact health and survival by accelerating some aging processes. So with the help of the environment team, I was able to put together pollutant information for our dogs using publicly available data from the EPA for 6 common air pollutants: carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, particulate matter 10, particulate matter 2.5, and sulfur dioxide. Following this, we generated a composite metric to measure total exposure by z-scoring each of the 6 pollutant variables and then took the average of those scores so that each dog then had a normalized composite measure for total pollutant exposure. So in general, our population of dogs is very healthy regardless of age, and we have a very small population of old, unhealthy dogs who live in areas of high exposure. So we decided to model owner-reported age using ordinal regression because it allows us to compare the probability of being in one health category versus the next, for example, poor versus fair, rather than assuming the distance between each category is equal. So I used the cumulative measure for ease of interpretation and a way to look at all exposure at the same time. So at any one point in exposure, the probability shown by the lines on the graph add up to 1. So as exposure increases, as seen on the x-axis, dogs leave the highest or excellent health category, as seen in the darkest blue line. So they have to fall into another lower category, which is why we see an increase in the other categories as 6 or excellent decreases. This means across all dog ages, we see that with an increase in normalized cumulative exposure, the likelihood of being in a better health category decreases. Then we wanted to see if any of our pollutants were associated with an overall change in disease. And it's important to note in this data set that most dogs have 3 or less diseases. So carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, and the composite metric showed a significant association with an increase in disease prevalence. And then next, we wanted to see if a change in exposure was associated with a certain type of disease prevalence. So we separated our 130 different diseases into 9 different categories and modeled each category with exposure. And we saw that carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, and the composite metric showed a significant association with a change in gastrointestinal disorder prevalence. Following this work, we wanted to explore DNA methylation observed in peripheral blood mononuclear cells as a potential molecular mechanism that might explain the link between exposures and negative health outcomes. So first, we had to establish if exposure to pollutants and if aging impacts differential DNA methylation in our data set. And we did. So here I'm just showing the results for exposure, but both exposure and age have an effect on differential methylation. And we see that more than 2 times of sites than expected by chance are associated with both pollution and aging. I have so much more that I'd love to share about these data, so please feel free to reach out to me if you would like to chat. So what's next for this project? So I plan to calculate lifetime exposure for each dog using the publicly available EPA data to provide even more accurate data for DAP and this project. I am also going to parse out which specific gastrointestinal disorders are changing with exposure. And then I'm also going to further elucidate if DNA methylation is the mechanism behind the change in health and disease seen with increased exposure, and continue to work on with Project 3 to generate new measures of health using vet records and omics data. Thank you everyone for your time today. I'd love to thank my committee, the SMAC Lab, the environment team here at DAP, and Audrey. I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, that was super cool. And well, that is only a couple of presentations that we saw in Seattle. I've really been interested in that kind of stuff that Layla was talking about, what we can observe in dogs and the broader impacts on health and environment. It's one of those kind of things that reminds us that the Dog Aging Project's data might extend beyond the immediate interest in health span and longevity that we talk about a lot. Because again, this is an open data project. So everything you're contributing can have a big impact down the road. In another presentation that we didn't roll today, another researcher, Martin Darvis, talked about the neuropathologic features of Alzheimer's and what we see in dogs who experience CCD. So he showed off histology slides, that's the tissue slides, and expects to further investigate plasma and CSF next. So it's super cool stuff. You know, we're doing things that touch on the social aspects and then the biology and a lot of great stuff that is all possible thanks to our pack.
Yeah, it's really impressive stuff. I mean, I'm always so impressed by the work our team is doing. So next up, we're going to take a look at some of the posters presented at our annual meeting. If you're not familiar, research posters are an easy way to share a lot of information. This is especially useful when teams like ours are seeing each other for the first time after working all across the country.
Yeah, that's right. So some of these describe how we do things. It's the processes behind the scenes. It's not just the scientific results. For example, I made a poster with Chris, who a lot of you probably know, showing how we reached out to folks who didn't finish their surveys. It's a small thing, but every little bit helps. So one thing to keep in mind with these posters is that they're not peer-reviewed science. These are sneak peeks inside the work that's being done by our team. Much of it's still a work in progress. So whatever you see here today, it's not the final word on everything, but it's just a way for us to share the kind of stuff that we're working on.
So some of them can be fun too. One poster that we did from our new team was put together like a sneak peek of the most common dog names from the Dog Aging Project. We had a little fun too. So after crunching the numbers, we went around the office asking team members to guess what they thought was the top names in our DAT pack.
Let's find out the most common dog name at the Dog Aging Project for a boy and a girl. But let's get some guesses first. And my guess for a girl is Susie and for a boy, Georgie. Now let's see what the team thinks. So what do you think is the most common dog name?
Okay, so I think the most common girl dog name is Sophie, and the most common boy dog name is probably Cooper.
So what do you think is the most common dog name?
Daisy, Buddy.
So what do you think is the most common dog name?
For girl dogs, think Bella, and for boys, I think Matt.
So before we get to the posters, I'll ask you to guess. What do you think is the most common dog names in the Dog Aging Project? And you can put them in the comments or let us know on our channels. We also have little shorts on our YouTube channel and on TikTok. So find out your guesses. Let us know what your guesses are. Okay, are you ready? Let's take a look at these posters now. And remember, PAC members can view all of these in detail at the dog park and replay. And you can also replay this video and pause at any time because it's going to be available for you once we're done today. Have you had a chance to think about those names? Here's one more poster with the answers. So the names are in their pack are pretty close to Rover, we found. The number 1 and 2 spots were reversed for boys and girls, but mostly the same. So does your dog have one of these names?
I have a Cooper. So, okay, so I realize a lot of that might have been over some of our heads, and I'm the communications guy. I'm not a scientist personally. And I know that's the case for me a lot of the times. At least the first time you start building a vocabulary for this stuff, right? But this is all stuff that you'll see more of in the future. Our work with the biobank at Cornell, for example, it's going to be really cool in the years ahead. So stay tuned. There'll be a lot more on this, and our team is really, really energized after that annual meeting in Seattle this year.
That's right. And before we move on, I just want to remind everyone that the replay of this video will remain on our YouTube channel. So you can rewind this, pause it at any time you want. And the posters are uploaded at the dog park. So you can head over there. We can get a better look at everything if you're a PAC member. Wow. Let's call that a wrap. Thank you all for being on today. PAC members for watching it and participating in today's event. We're truly grateful for everything you do and for your continued support of the Dog Aging Project. Make sure to go to the dog park if you haven't already to enter in the giveaway for some new swag. We will announce the winners at the dog park forum. So also be sure to head over there and we'll be answering any questions that you may have today at today's event as well. So head over to the dog park. Oh, one programming note. Our team has busy schedules in the next couple months, so we haven't pinned down our next PAC event yet. So we might just see, we'll let you know in our newsletters. So make sure if you're not subscribed to newsletters. We will update you there because our next event might be next year. But before we leave you this month, we have a message from our team for Eric, who is moving to a new career. As we mentioned, this is Eric's first and last appearance at our PAC appreciation event. And from all of us, we want to thank you for everything, truly. You've done so much, and we're definitely going to miss you, but we're also very excited for you.
Thank you so much, Eric. We are so grateful to you and so excited for your next big thing.
Eric, I can't believe you're leaving us. I am really going to miss your expertise and your good humor. You helped this project level up in so many ways. We're going to miss you. Take care.
Goodbye, Eric. Good luck in your next adventure. We'll miss you here.
Hi, Eric. What are we going to do without you? You provide such insight, humor, and connection to everything you do. Thank you for sharing so much with all of us.
Eric, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations, and you're going to be very dearly missed.
Eric, we'll miss you. Good luck in your next adventure.
Eric, I can't believe that you're leaving. We're going to miss you so much. Your innovations and changes that you've brought to this project have made us better, and you have added not just to the project, but to us as people too. I wish you luck in your next adventure, and we will miss you.
Hey, Eric, I just want to thank you for all that you've done for us, and I wish you well at your new job.
Eric, I've so appreciated your contributions to the publications committee and the Dog Aging Project in general, and we are really going to miss you.
Hi, Eric. I just wanted to thank you so much for all your contributions to the Dog Aging Project. It's been awesome to work with you and learn from you and your creative styles, and you're fantastic with our participants, and very excited for your new opportunity. You're going to rock it like you do everything. So thank you for all you've done, and best wishes, and stay in touch with us.
Hey, Eric, we are all going to miss your intelligence, your creativity, and your kindness. Your new team is so lucky to get you. Bye-bye and good luck.
Eric, thank you so much for everything. I've learned so much, and I'm definitely going to miss you, but I'm also so excited for you. So good luck on your new job and career, and it's going to be great.
Best of luck on your next adventure. Thanks for everything you've done for the team. Bye.
Bye, Eric.
Best of luck on your next adventure. You'll be missed.
Goodbye. We're gonna miss you.
Bye, Eric. We'll miss you. Bye, Eric. We're gonna miss you. Thank you.